Let's talk about address verifications. These are very important to prevent fraud. You can verify the person's billing address or shipping address. Verifying the billing address is usually cheap and in some cases even an automatic service. Verifying the shipping address, however, is more costly, but it provides an added layer of security because in many cases, such as for cash return fraud or consumer fraud, a fake address is used. Let's take a closer look.
There are three types of verifications that can be performed on the consumer's address, billing, or shipping. These are good to prevent fraud based on false shipping locations, such as drop-off points. The first is AVS, or Address Verification Services. These verify the billing address associated with the cardholder's card. It's easy to check where it matches the billing information entered in the website or not. Some cards support AAV, which is Advanced Address Verification. These verify not just the billing address, but the shipping address and contact information as well, but only some card associations support it. Then we have Delivery Address Verification. This is a technique that consists of a service that checks the shipping address of the consumer to make sure that it's valid and that it's not a drop-off point or another type of false address that is not a real home or office. Naturally, this is more costly, but it's also more helpful to prevent fraud that relies on drop-off points or invalid shipping addresses. And finally, Freight Forwarder Verification. This technique checks whether this address is a freight forwarder or not, or in other words, if it's an address that automatically routes packages and shipments to another address, possibly an international one. This is good to prevent international forwarding fraud, which is when someone orders a product that is going to be shipped to an address that seems to be in the same country, but that address automatically reroutes it internationally. While verification of the billing address is cheap and widely accessible, AVS, for example, is available for most cards and AAV for some of them, and is actually usually part of the bigger card verification process, so it's very natural. The verification of the shipping address, on the other hand, is more costly, but it's justifiable for high-value transactions. It's particularly useful to stop all types of fraud that rely on false shipping addresses, such as cash return fraud, one-time fraud, and others. All of these use drop-off points or other fake addresses so that the perpetrator can pick up the package quickly and then either return it or fence it. These verifications prevent those fake addresses from being used. Which one of these to use depends on the combination of other techniques present and the type of fraud that you are suspecting. What are some examples of address verification? The first is freight forwarding. As we mentioned, checking for freight forwarding is a great tool to prevent international fraud, where the shipping location, for example, may be in the US, but the package ends up internationally. If you don't check for freight forwarding, you'll never know that. The second example is AVS. Address verification for the billing address is completely standard, and it's usually included in the most basic types of card verification services provided by associations, and it can be good to solve disputes. There are different levels of matches. Each of these techniques returns a result, what is called a signal in the fraud monitoring terminology, or what in programming language is called a return of a function, and it usually is not a yes-no, but it's a full match, in case the address is a full match, a partial match, a not available, and so on. So the fraud monitoring systems must take into account these different levels of responses. What are our key takeaways here? The first is AVS and AAV. These are two types of billing address verification, both included in basic card verification services. AVS is more widespread, while AAV is just for specific cards. Delivery address verification, as the name says, verifies the shipping address. It's more costly, but it's especially important to prevent fraud that relies on drop-off points and invalid addresses. And finally, freight forwarder verification. especially important to prevent international fraud, because you know beforehand whether this address is a freight forwarder that is going to forward these products from a domestic address to an international one later.
So as we see, verifying the billing and shipping address is important. Verifying the shipping address in particular takes more time and effort, but it does provide a lot of protection against the types of fraud that use fake addresses. There are many,